But we begin tonight with that breaking news from Lincoln Park, where a police officer was shot in the line of duty.
That officer was rushed to the hospital and is expected to be okay. We're told that the suspected shooter, who was also shot, is now in custody. This all happening this afternoon along West Outer Drive between Fort Street and Jefferson Avenue in Lincoln Park.
Let's get right to 7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cast live at the scene in Lincoln Park with an update from police. Brett, what do you know?
Carolyn, as you said, both the officer who was shot in his lower body and the suspect are in stable condition, expected to be okay. But all of this unfolded right here on Outer Drive here in Lincoln Park. We know that from police, Lincoln Park police were conducting a narcotics investigation, and they found the suspect. And when the suspect saw them approaching, that's when he took off running. We know that some of the officers were undercover, some of the officers were in uniform, and when they started running, this chase happened on foot. Shots were exchanged between both of them. At some point, we know obviously the officer was hit, and then the suspect was hit as well. Right now, that investigation into what happened is being conducted by Michigan State Police, who right now are just kind of combing over the video they can get, interviewing the officers, trying to figure out what exactly happened. But right now, the body cam, some of the officers did have body cams, some didn't. So that does pose a little bit of a challenge into discovering what exactly happened, but there are also witnesses who heard the shots fired.
Well, naturally, body cameras make things a lot easier for us to determine what happened. But at times, too, even with the body camera, it's hard to determine what exactly happened depending on the position of the officer, where their hands were and stuff like that. So we're kind of used to going without the body camera. The body camera is kind of like an extra bonus.
I started crying for a minute. It was scary because it happened literally right in front of my grandma's house. And I was outside when it happened.
And the suspect's weapon was recovered on scene. We know there were 4 officers in total. We don't know how many of them fired shots, but we do know 4 officers, all of them with Lincoln Park Police.
Brett, let me ask you a quick question before we let you go. Do you know how many shots were fired or who may have shot first?
Well, right now, police don't know, and actually state police say they may not ever know who fired first, given what they have to look through here. What's next, though, is they're going to go through the officers' weapons to see how many rounds and do what's called a round count to see how many rounds were fired, and they know how many rounds they started with. So then they can determine exactly how many rounds were fired. We did hear witnesses say they heard at least 5 gunshots, but we don't know an exact number from police as far as how many shots were fired by either the officers or the suspect as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Brett, for the information and for the live report.